Students, welcome back to Cyber Rakshak Beginner, Proactive Cyber Defense Engineering using Python, day 5. We'll be starting at 6:05. Good evening, students. I repeat, we'll be starting at 6:05 p.m.
Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent or Cyberversity in cyber defense has been cyber resilience on education, Cybervidyapeeth Foundation training or Cyberversity on has been up with focus on cyber. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks to provide education over the next 5 years. Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation or Cyberversity has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth or Cyberversity is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1,000,000 cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat. Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense.
Good evening, students. I apologize for the delay. So, we'll go ahead with today's class. I hope to see all of you here, same as yesterday, working hard. I've had a very productive day yesterday. A lot of you called me, a lot of you texted us, and we got into some really deep conversations yesterday. I met so many of you guys, and I really, really think that we're going in the right direction to make India cyber resilient. So today, I want to discuss about sets and dictionaries. And now sets are used not that much in security, but they're used quite a lot in data science. So I'm only going to give you the theoretical introduction to sets. Okay. And after that, I'm going to leave the rest of the work to our, very capable instructor, Jeffrey. But I'll be touching a little bit upon dictionaries, showing you some code for dictionaries. Because dictionaries are actually used quite a lot because they're very similar to .json files. That's .json, okay, which are actually what most internet leaks and database leaks nowadays are in, right? That's the file format that you'll find most of these databases in. So you have to actually learn how to process these things in Python, how to change the JSON to a dictionary and vice versa. These are some necessary skills that Jeffrey will teach you. So you need to have the absolute basics of dictionaries before you understand all these things. From there on out, we are going to look at functions, which is going to be, let's just say, a whole new world of interesting things. Okay. So let's start. I'm going to share my PPT so you can see my PPT screen. Okay, so let's begin. First things first. Yes, I know you can't hear me. I intentionally made it so. Yes, you are very much so right. The main difference between a set and a tuple is their theoretical value. So in set, one thing is, important to know is that the elements inside the sets, okay, are usually unordered but similar in nature. Okay, so we try to keep it as close to mathematics as possible. So similar objects, it can be unordered, but it will be similar in nature. Okay, so for example, here you can see an example of a set is var equals to, inside curly braces, cyber rakshak beginner. Correct. Now another one change is that sets are mutable, meaning you can change them. Okay, and sets have no duplicates, just like the mathematics sets. Okay, you have zero duplicates here as well. So if you have a mathematical set which has a comma b, it's actually just a comma b. We don't take duplicates in sets in mathematics. In a similar way, here also we do not take duplicates. Okay, so that's the first thing you guys need to understand. The second thing that you need to understand is that it's highly optimized for searching, as it has no duplicates. So it makes searching, sorting a lot easier for our purposes. Okay, that's another thing you need to take, you need to keep in mind. And the last thing that I feel, people need to know about sets is that sets are used when you have a bunch of constant flow of data. Okay, so for example, say that you have the data of 40-50,000 citizens of India. Okay, you have their name and whether they are male or female. To store that data, once it is correctly stored, do you want to change it? Maybe, right? Because see, what happens is that you will not believe, in just the number of students, how many people have made that mistake. They've selected female instead of male and male instead of female. People can make mistakes. Okay, similarly with an email, you missed a letter, a word, you mistyped your mail because you were typing fast on a keyboard you were not used to. These mistakes happen quite a lot, and these are exactly the kind of mistakes that customers will do. If you're making a software for a company, customers are going to make mistakes, silly mistakes. Okay, they're not going to be attentive enough. In most cases they'll mess up, they'll fill the form in the wrong way, and this will cause your data to come in wrong. So you want a data structure that can store your data and then you can change it. But at the same time, you do not want to store duplicates, right? So you don't want the same email coming in your data set 7 times. That's waste of storage and memory, right? You do not want cyber 100 times in a database. You just want cyber 1, rakshak 1, beginner 1s. That's it, right? So this this data structure actually achieves high optimizations when we are dealing with searching and checking of element and their types. So this is actually optimized under the hood to do that, and it is based on something called a hash table. Now I'm not going to teach you guys the hash table because I think Python is not really the language to teach what a hash table is. You need to know the C language and you need to implement it yourself to understand what a hash table is. If you do know the C language, I would recommend checking out the Geeks for Geeks page for hash tables. Okay, Python, I'm not going into hash tables. It's a really advanced concept, and implementing it in Python is just going to cause a lot of issues. And we already have a implementation here. So moving on. Let's talk a little bit about dictionaries. So dictionaries are very interesting because they're based on the concept of key value pairs. So what does key value means? So keys are basically, you can be thought of as an attribute or a term and then its value. So an example of it would be Delhi's temperature. Okay, so temperature is a key and then you put a colon, and then you tell the temperature every single day. So you have temperature one day 35, one day 45, something like that. Delhi has insane temperatures, so there's that. So this key value pair that you give it a key, and then you give it a value, is called a key value pair system. And this is exactly what dictionaries are based on. So an example here for a dictionary that we have put is so the first term we are storing is cyber, the second term that we are storing is rakshak, and the third term we are storing is beginner. Okay, and notice how just like the sets, we are using curly braces in dictionary also. So if I go back to the PPT for sets, you can see that we are definitely using the same curly braces. Okay, but the difference is we are using a colon, and then we are using some kind of key before the colon. Okay, and the key can be a string, so you can have something in code saying that first word colon cyber, comma, second word colon cyber, third word colon cyber, etc. To better explain this and to demonstrate this, I am going to share my VS Code and take you directly towards the code environment, so that you can actually have a look at the code and understand what is going on. Please confirm when you are able to actually see the code editor in chat. Okay, so let's begin. You're able to see it. So we're going to look at by creating some basic dictionaries. From that point onwards, we'll be going into slightly more complex examples using running methods on them and stuff like that. Okay, some people are having an audio issue. Let me just turn off and turn on my audio again. Okay, yeah, now it should be much more clear. Perfect. Oh, the font is pretty big. Okay, I don't think I need to increase the font anymore, because then it will be not be visible for me. Okay, so here's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to start by making a very simple dictionary, and then we'll slowly increase the complexity of the dictionary. Okay, so the dictionary is going to be called as my car, and this is how I'm going to define the dictionary. I'm going to say that brand for my car colon is something like Tata. Okay, comma, enter. Then in quotes, I'm going to enter the model is something like a Land Rover or something, right? So something like that, because Tata owns Land Rover. And then the year of purchase, or when I bought the car, is going to be 2022. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a comma here, because you have to do that for every key pair value. And there you go. Just like that, we have a basic structure for a dictionary. Okay, so now I'm going to run this program. Again, we are going to get our friendly error, and then it's going to run the code. Perfect. So I've run the code, the dictionary was created, but I didn't do anything. So the dictionary didn't get printed, etc., etc. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print my car. So I'm going to just go ahead and print my car, and we'll see what output we get. So when I print my car, we see very similar to a list. We get a very familiar output here. Now, if I try to print the type to see what class it follows or what blueprint it follows and save it, we see the class dict, which is actually short for dictionary. Okay, so that is the class here. So this is the absolute basics of the dictionaries. Okay, now let's talk about selection. So you can actually select specific keys. Okay, because that's the whole point of key pair values. You can search based on keys. So you can do something like give the name of the dictionary, have big brackets, and then you can select a dictionary key. So I'm going to select here, right? And what it's going to do, it's going to just print the year. It's going to pick out the key and just print the year. Okay. Some people are saying the video is faded. Is the video quality okay? Or do I need to make some changes on my end? Please confirm. Okay, yeah, video quality is great. I checked it on my end as well. You guys need to increase the resolution to 720p or more, okay? Otherwise, you're going to have some issues. So now, some people are saying, can I use variables? Well, let's find out, right? Because I always believe in coding. So I'm going to create a variable which says year of my car equals 2022, and instead of using a number here, I'm going to use a variable and then print out the value, and you'll see the output is still exactly the same. So yes, the answer to your question is yes. As we can see practically that variables do work with dictionaries, and similarly they work with sets as well. They'll just pull out the value and put it there, and even with lists, that's how they work. They are just identifiers or references to data. Okay, so for example, here I can add another another key, and I'll call this key as key 4. I'll put some a colon, and then I'll put 5 here. So this is the fun part. You can actually have very weird kinds of keys here. You could also have 5 colon and then just give it true, put a comma here, and now this is a valid dictionary that you can save and run, right? And your program's not going to give you any errors. And if you select say 5 here, so 5 here, and you run the program, you're actually going to get true as the output. So this actually talks a lot about the flexibility of dictionaries and how it can have various kinds of data types and data, data variants and objects all in the same dictionary. Okay, so this is actually just one small power of dictionaries. And the best part about dictionaries is that they cannot have the two similar keys. So for example, you cannot do this. You cannot do 4:4, okay, and save and then run. It's going to give you a key error. It's going to say that, hey, you've used the same key again. You can have same pairs, but you can't have same key. So I can actually put 5 here, but I have I have to put 5 here as well. Now this is going to work. This program, it's going to work and it's going to print 5. So this is extremely important to know, okay, that you cannot have duplicate keys, but you can have duplicate pairs in dictionaries. This is another important concept to know. Another thing to know is that you can actually check the length of a dictionary by wrapping it in this new beautiful function that I'm introducing to you guys called len. Again, if you don't understand what a function is, think of it like a magic word. Whatever you wrap inside it, it will tell you the length of things stored inside it. So here, if I give it a dictionary and put len, it's going to show me the length of the dictionary, okay, which is 5, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things in the dictionary. If I take my variable, and I place my variable in here, so I do something like year of my car, and I run that up, then we get an error, because integers have no length, right? You cannot define the length of an integer. But at the same time, say, okay, at the same time, okay, let me just look at the chat once. Okay, perfect. Yeah. No, sorry, that's not gonna work. The size is already actually pretty big. As long as you're watching it even on a mobile at 720p, it should be pretty clear. So moving on, so we can see year of my car doesn't work, right? But if you had a list and then you do len, that's going to work. Okay, so that is something you need to know. So you know what, I'm interested in saying that if this will work, if I make it a string, and you see that this works, and this is what you need to know. A string is what? You need to define a string as a sequence of characters. This is very important. A string is nothing but a sequence of individual characters. So when I put something in double quotes or single quotes in Python, what happens is that each and every single one of these numbers or digits, if you may, becomes an individual unit, okay? And then the len function can actually calculate their length and print out 4 here, but it could not do it when it was a number. So there are multiple ways. You could just take the input and create it like so, or you could take the input directly from the user. That way also you will be able to take in strings and process them using functions such as length. Okay. With that, let me remove the clean the editor just a little bit. I will show you the next example. Also, many people have been asking me how I do this magic, just collapse the editor. The way you can do this is just come down to the line where you want to collapse. You will see an arrow just left to the left of the function or the variable or the list or whatever that is multi-line in nature. For example, an if-else statement. And you can actually just press this down arrow button right here, okay? And this will collapse your code, and you can directly jump to the 8th line, okay? And to go back to your code, you can just click on these 3 dots right here, or you can click on this arrow right here, and that's also going to work. So let me save the file, and let's move on with the next example for dictionaries, okay? Because I said that dictionaries, I want to play around with a little bit more. So now I'm going to create a test. Let me go down one more line. Test dict for dictionary, which will be equal to, and what I'm going to do is I am going to actually copy. Okay, I removed year of car, so let me quickly add that variable. I want to show you something interesting. So year of car equals 2022, save. Now I am going to copy from here till here. So this entire part I'm going to copy. I'm going to collapse this code and paste this code in here, put a comma, go to the next line, and then I'm going to say color, right? And for colors, I am going to just make this as a string, and I'm going to say that I want to provide a long list of red, of orange, and of say black. Okay, I really like black color in cars, so black. Now this is a valid dictionary too. It can contain other data types as well, right? So this is actually, you know, where the power of dictionary truly shines, when you are inputting other types of data sets. Key can never be duplicate. Children, key can never be duplicate. I repeat, keys can never be duplicate. Okay, no matter what the value, you cannot have colors again in this dictionary. That is not allowed. Okay, no matter what, you just cannot have. So I can never write another year, and if you know, but I could write another year of car and make it equal to year of my car. So the pairs themselves can have duplicates, but the keys will never have duplicates. Okay, so make sure. Yes, you can have a dictionary of images. Who has asked this question? Yes, you please make sure to put your full name. So yes, you can actually have a dictionary of images. The way you do that is you convert the images to their pixel format. So you extract the pixel codes from the image, then you store that in the dictionary, and then you can process it. Or you can store it in a NumPy array. I think a NumPy array is much better if you're doing TensorFlow analysis or data science work. If you're going into AI ML, you know, with images, it is recommended that you convert your images into pixels and then process them. Or you know, because this allows you to work with numbers, and most machine learning algorithms, they actually work with numbers only. Okay. No, key cannot be duplicate. You cannot have duplicate keywords. That's simply not possible. You'll get a key error. Right here, you know, if I go up just a little bit, you'll see the error. Okay, you know what? I'll show you guys. So if I'll go down, you know, and I'm going to again define colors. I'm going to put a quote. I'm going to put 7 or something here. Doesn't really matter. Save it and run. Did it not run the program? But let me print it out. That way, you know for a fact. Yeah. So as you can see right here, that there can be no duplicates. Duplicate key is not giving error. Latest update is printed. Okay, maybe they did an update. Doesn't matter. See, still duplicate keys are ignored. Okay, that is the concept. You need to look at the concept. Coding practices can be changed. Last key is changing the values. Okay, so this is why we say don't use duplicate codes. You look at any university syllabus, any course online, doesn't matter. Dictionaries do not put duplicate keys. That is always the rule. Because because you know, dictionaries are not optimized to help you search through duplicate keys. Okay, so you know, always have one keys, because see, if you have one keys, it makes it easier for the program to also handle and run it. Okay, so I highly recommend never have duplicate keys. Just think of a dictionary as a mini database. In database, you will never have you know, duplicate values. You always try to store unique values to, you know, have less storage restrictions and help your company, your personal project, or whatever. Cool. Okay, so I guess that is clear, right? So CGI import test normal. Some random function got imported, which I don't want. So this is about dictionaries. Now the next topic that I want to show you an example of, okay, is nested dictionaries. And you know, when we decided to teach you guys this, you know, I was thinking this is slightly advanced topic. Should I teach this? Should I not teach this? But I feel, you know, this is used so much by one of our faculties later on, is that you have to learn at least the basics of this. Okay, so here's how a nested dictionary looks. You can have a nested dictionary test equals, of course the curly braces are required, never forget the curly braces. Now you can define dictionary 0, you can give a colon, and then you can do it so. You can do key 1 quote, then you can give some value, doesn't matter, I'm just gonna put 1 there, and then you're going to go here, give a comma, go to the next line, just do it 1 quote, have another key 2, and just store the number 2. So I guess this should be pretty clear and visible to all of you. So this is a nested dictionary, and if we try to print this, okay, nested run, this is how it will look. Dictionaries inside dictionaries. This is how you can do it. You can actually have a dictionary with a key, and then that key can store another dictionary, and that dictionary can store another dictionary, and so on and so forth. So what I can do here is I can actually store another dictionary inside, but it will get insanely complicated, especially with the brackets. But let's still try it. I'm going to make it key 2.1. okay, I'm going to give a colon and put 2 here and save that, and then run that, and notice what I've done. Inside a dictionary, there is a dictionary that has a dictionary that is a dictionary. You get me? You can have multiple dictionaries inside of each other, and this actually makes it really, really powerful, because if you think about it, dictionaries are very, very flexible, and they can hold other data types. So you can have a list inside of a dictionary, a set, a array, a variables, a bunch of bits and bytes. You can do all sorts of fun stuff with dictionaries. Okay, and this is where it gets really, really interesting. So that's all I wanted to really go over dictionaries right now. Now what I want to touch before I end this lesson for dictionaries is I want to talk to you about a little bit about its usage in the cyber defense field. Okay, where it is used, how it is used. So the easiest way is to process data. So say that you have a JSON file, and this is actually how a JSON file is structured. Okay, inside a JSON file, basically what will happen is that you'll have let me show you how a JSON file looks. So a JSON file looks kind of sort of like this, or let me just download a nested JSON online and show you guys. I feel that an example of a nested JSON data set is going to be much better than me explaining you what a nested JSON is. So I'm just going to copy an example and paste it here. So this is an example of a nested JSON that's on your screen right now. It starts with a curly brace, just like our dictionary. It has key pair values, as you can see. It can store different data types just like we can. But for batteries, batters, not batteries, batters, for I think this is a cake. Yeah, cake, right? For batters, it has another, I repeat, it has another JSON inside of a JSON key, which has a key, which has a list in JavaScript, which has basically separate which has an array in JavaScript which has separate lists inside, storing ID and type. Okay, so this list has basically multiple dictionaries inside. So what you can do is you can actually have multiple data types mixing. So you can have things like dict to you go to dict, then from a dict you go to a list, then from list again you go to a dict, and from there say you go to a variable. This is completely possible, and this is how actually inception, huh? So this is actually how a lot of the complex corporate programs are written. This allows you to manipulate data in a much more depth and divide your data in a very logical manner. You can model your structures, data structures, on real world data. Okay, that's actually how it works. So let me delete all this. Okay, we don't want to play around with chocolate sprinkles and whatnot. Let me remove all of this code, save the file, and clear the terminal. So that is all we need to focus on in terms of studies, studying on dictionaries right now. The next topic is, that I want to cover today is about functions, but I'm going to give you guys a break here right now because functions requires a clean brain. So I want you guys to take a break till 7. At exactly 7 we'll come back and we'll focus on functions. I'll show you 7 different types of functions you can make, and we will we'll look at different functions, and then we'll combine functions with dictionaries, sets, lists, variables, etc., etc. It's getting a little complicated. Yes, I understand, complexity is there. You don't have to do that much complication, but slowly, we have to increase the complication. So I'll see you guys after the break, and we will go into functions and how to use everything we've studied till now inside a function. Okay, and how to have multiple functions, what's a local variable, global variable. We have around 4 or 5 concepts there to deal with. Okay, so see you guys soon. It's a 15-minute break, students. 15-minute break. Okay, we'll be back at 7.
Cybervidyapeeth Foundation, or Cyberversity, has been up with focus on education, research, and training on advanced cyber defense. Cyberversity is committed to creating 1 million cyber rakshaks over the next 5 years. The mission of Cybervidyapeeth, or Cyberversity, is to provide education, training, and research in the areas of advanced cyber defense. We shall create a significantly large talent pool in cyber defense for cyber resilient Bharat.
Welcome back, students. Some people are asking the difference between a variable and a key. Keys are just terms allocated to some data. Okay. Variables are actual boxes inside which you can store data. There is a big difference. Okay. That is how I want you to envision it. Of course, if you go deeper, even variables are just nothing but names of a location. But in terms of a visual imagination, I think that is a pretty good example right there. Yes, okay. So both single string, double strings, and triple strings are used in Python. Okay. So for example, let me show you guys something. Say A equals hello. Okay. Say B equals say C equals notice how the program ran and there were no errors. And if I print the type of A and subsequently the types for B and C, right, to find out if they're what they actually are. Notice that all three of them are strings or strs. Okay, that's how we know all three are the same. This is the largest, this is smaller, this is the smallest. What it means is that you need to make sure that if you're using this on the outside, you are using this on the inside, and inside this you're using this, or vice versa. So say that I have a string LOL. Now you can use double quotes in here and it's going to be perfectly fine. You can actually run this program and nothing's going to go wrong. And if you want, you can actually just print one for D as well. It's not going to be an issue. And we can see that it's a string, perfectly fine, right? But if you want inside here some test, comma, and then quote, 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 quote. Okay. Like that. 1 and 2. Yeah, this is perfectly. Shorten this and then do test, comma, and 5. Where is the error? Okay, so yeah, perfectly. So yeah, the error was the 111. Okay, I thought so. For a second, I was like, did I type something wrong, or is this too many quotes for me to handle? Okay, so as you can see, this is also a string. Okay, because here we are using quotes inside of quotes, double quotes inside of single quotes, and it's working completely fine, right? So all these three are strings, and even D is a string. So you need to make sure that when you're using these interchangeably, you are consistent with it. For example, when I create a variable, I always use small, but when I use a list, I use double quotes. Okay, so that's just a thing I have. So you have to make sure that when you're following a rule, you're following it very strictly. There's no hard and fast rule. There is a standard called pep 8 which does define some such rules, so you can actually look up pep 8 and read the rules of how to use quotes in Python. It's a standard or a framework, if you may, for how to write clean and stable Python code. So let me remove that. Okay, so are there any more questions? Okay, let me just check the Telegram as well. There should be no questions on my personal chat as well as on the live chat. So for today's 5th class attendance link has been shared in Telegram. You can get it from Telegram. I repeat, you can get it from Telegram. Okay. You can fill the attendance form there. Perfect. So everything seems to be working perfectly fine. It looks like you guys have non-primitive data types are data types that not by default or traditionally in a programming language. So for example, primitive data types would include things like integers or characters or doubles of floats and complex numbers or long doubles. But when you're dealing with when you're dealing with things like, say, classes, right, or objects, and you're creating your own data types, because that's what you do when you instantiate a class and all that, and you create an object, you kind of like have already created your own data type. So those are basically non-primitive data types, or data types that require some kind of referencing, also called as reference data types. Yeah, methods I'm not going to teach you guys until I am done with methods and functions. Okay, I repeat, methods and functions, and unless I teach that topic, I'm not showing you many methods on functions. Okay, so let's move on with functions now. Okay, we'll be focusing on functions just a little bit. Okay? Now this is a topic very interesting, because this is where you start unleashing the true power of Python, and things will get a lot interesting. So methods or functions, so they are used interchangeably across languages, but in Python both have specific meaning. For now, we will be dealing with functions, and once you understand functions, I'll tell you what a method in Python is. Okay, let's take it that way, that route. I think that would be much more interesting and easier to understand. So there are three components to a function. First is the keyword that is required to make a function. Then you have to give a name, and then you have to give some parameters. Okay, these are the three things. Example would be, for something like this, would be the keyword define, which is used to make functions. So you can say something like define a function. This is not fun, by the way. This is short for function, just so you know. Okay, then you can have some parameters. So you can say something like a number. So let's go with name colon str. Okay, quote, enter, and here I'm just going to put pass, and the error is going to go whenever the function once. Make sure I have no syntax errors. Then I'm going to remove pass, and then I'm going to print my name is plus name. Okay, so I want to see how many of you can guess what I've just done here. Can you guys guess what I just did in the print statement? Please write in the comment. So if I run this program, let me save it up. Nothing is going to happen. And there's a reason behind it. See, you can easily create a function, but there is a concept it's called as calling the function. So just making this little guy isn't enough. You have to call it. Okay, how do you call it? Okay, now I know I haven't taught you what a parameter is and how to make one. I'm coming to it. For now, just know that you have a keyword, a name, and a parameter. The keyword is defined. The name for this function is fun, and inside brackets we have defined only one parameter, right? That parameter is name, which is a variable of type string, hence the hence str here, which is nothing but just a collection of characters. Then we've used a colon, which means okay, I want to go inside this function. Then coming down, I have left 4 spaces. Okay, 4 spaces on the left. Then I've said name equals input. So okay, I want to take some input from the user. I want the user to type something, and then I want to print my name is, and with this text I want to add whatever value stored inside the name variable. So this might sound let me comment this out first. Let me show you the normal way. So this is how the function looks, and to call it, this is how I would call it. I would do something like let me just do test equals input first. Let me do it outside the function. So I'm just going to do a test equals input. Then I'm going to go ahead and call the function fun, and I'm going to pass it test. I'm going to save it and I'm going to run it. And what's going to happen is the cursor is going to blink. Okay, so now the blinking cursor is actually waiting for an input because I've used the input function right here down here. Okay, there looks like some people have some doubts. So okay, yeah, doesn't seem to be any actual doubts here. Okay, so once we take the data from the input into the test, and then we pass that data to the function. So what the Python is doing is it looks at the defined function, this line. Okay, it ignores it, it just keeps it in memory and forgets about it. Comes to line 7, asks for the user input. So I'll give it the input. I'll say Xerox, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, now what's going to happen is that value is passed on as a parameter, because we do accept string parameters here in this function, as the first and the only parameter to the function. Then the function is going to go inside its only line of code, which is print my name is name, and it's going to concat. So this is this concept is called as concat. Concat means to put together, okay. So we are putting this sentence and whatever is going to be the value of name. The value of name is being passed as a parameter, which in this case is a variable, which in this case is something that the user entered. Okay, I'm going to say it again. So I can see some people have some issues. Okay, I got some text here. Okay, so let me make this easier for you. Okay, Python will go through this function. Let me remove this. I'll write it up again if I need to explain it. Let me first make it very clear. First of all, you define a function. The function is defined as defined by using the keyword def, which stands for define. Once the definition is done, we go ahead and give it a name, which is fun, or small, short for function. Then we give it a parameter. Now I can have multiple parameters here. I could have something like age colon int. That is completely possible. Gender colon string, right? Then I can have marks colon float. So these are all parameters. Okay, so just how you define a variable here, right? You say a equals something, right? You can have something like a equals something. So let me go up and put quotes here, save that. So that's a variable, right? But this is string type variable. So now you know that there are multiple types of data, right? There is there is str, there is int, there is float, right? So I have just used these three to create bunch of these parameters. Parameters are things you need to give to the function when you call it. So why is there a concept of calling a function? So for that, let's hear a story. Okay, the voice is audible. Priyanshi, if the voice is not audible, it's a fault on your side. So you can think of it like this. Okay, a function is a block of reusable code. I repeat, a function is a block of reusable code. I think this is the best definition of function I can give you. It's a block of code that can be used again and again and again and again in your program. One by one, one by one, one by one, one by one. Okay. So here, when I define this function, I want it to be used 7, 8 times. So what I can do is I can call it once in my program, or I can call it 100 times in my program, like so. I can, call it 10 times also. It's not going to matter. Okay, because it's going to give me an output every single time. Okay. Now this error is going to come because I've added more parameters. So let me first remove the parameters, save and run again. Yeah, and then let me just give it a value test, and you will see around 10 outputs. Okay, so I put a test slash, and you can see test slash has been printed. So you can see that I can call the code again and again. Hence the code is reusable. And what do I mean by block of code? Anything after this colon here, this entire part is going to be something you can use. So for example, you will print my name is this, then you will print my age is plus age, then you will print my gender is plus gender, then you will print I got plus marks plus okay. So this is actual use of a function. Now I'm actually going to add those parameters in. So I'm going to say that age is going to be integer, and then gender is going to be a string, and then marks is going to be a float. Okay, so with that I can actually go down and remove all these calls. Okay, and before calling the function, I need to make sure that I'm able to provide all this data. So I'm actually going to show you a nice trick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to store the name in the same variable name. I'm going to take the input from the user, and I'm going to put some quotes and give user a prompt. This is a power of the input function. Input is also a function written by someone else actually. So now I can ask, enter a name. Okay, then I can do something like age equals input. You were actually supposed to figure this out yourself. The last time's project was supposed to actually trigger this research in you. So now I'm going to input, enter your age as a number. Okay, and I'm also going to add 2 more. So I'm going to go for gender equals input, enter male or female, right? And then finally I'm going to add marks, which is equals to input, please enter your latest marks. Okay, colon space. Now the way I can call the function is I can just say func, I can open close brackets, and then I can pass each of these parameters as variables. So here we have the first variable, which is name. So if I hover over it, you can actually see that the first parameter is going to be a name, which has to be a string. So I have a variable called name, so I'll pass that. Then I have a variable called age, so I'll pass that. Then I have a variable called gender, so I'll pass that. Then I have a variable called marks, so I'll pass that. And then I think that's it, right? 4. So I'm going to save that. And now let me clear my screen and see the magic of functions. How I am able to reuse this block of code, I'll show you. Okay. I'll run the program. It's going to first ask me for a name. So it's going to go through this, line 2 to 6. It's going to learn that, okay, there is a function that asks for this. Okay, fine. Then what do I need to do? Okay, I need to take an input from user by saying enter a name and store that in a variable called name, which is a string variable. Okay. So I am going to, and this program has 2-3 errors, okay, because some special thing is required to handle the change of data types. I want you guys to figure this out. So I'm going to put a name A, put the age as say something like 25, put male in here, and put my latest marks as 99. Okay. And notice how all of this was handled by Python. Age was supposed to be an integer, right? Yet I took it as a string. So a lesson here that many times, even if you will make a mistake in code, okay, your program will handle most of it. So for example, for age here, you were supposed to typecast it as an int. This is called typecasting, changing the type of the data. So it was supposed to be like this, and marks was supposed to be like so. FLOAT float, and then you were able to cover this in brackets. Now this is how actually you were supposed to handle it. Okay, so now you can enter age as a number, say 10. You can say something like male or female, and then you can give it a 99.99. Okay, now this will cause issues. Could somebody quickly tell me what the issue is? Okay, you guys have 30 seconds to decide. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 1 minute. I'm going to shrink the error box a little bit so you can only see the error and my code. 60 seconds I'm going to give you, figure out the error and how to fix it. I want the code, okay, in the chat box. You have 60 seconds. Let's see how many of you got it right. Okay. Interesting. You can, but then the user can enter anything, right? say if you go up here in the parameter and you make age as str, some people are saying make this an str and then our problems are solved. So here's my question to you. If you make this an str, user can enter everything, right? Instead of age, I will add Banaras, Sri Lanka. What will you do? You are not doing a validation, right? You have to validate. I know concatenation is not possible with an integer. That was never the answer to the question. The question is how to fix the code. How to use a basic trick and fix the code. If you guys cannot give me the correct answer, I will give this same code as a challenge, and everyone will have to upload this as a Word file. No, dot format method. Again, I have not talked about methods. Yes, don't use methods. You can use normal encompassing functions such as int and float, and this typecast your way through. Okay, you do not need to play around so much. Remove the plus. No, that's not going to work. It's going to just give you an error. Formatted strings requires the format function, which method, which I'm not taught yet. So no, find another way. Interesting people, huh? Okay, some people are saying something, so let's try that. So they are saying that in print, instead of using all this, I can just put a comma and come in here and put some. Is this what you guys are saying? Okay, so you're saying do a dot format also after that. Okay, so do you want me to do a dot format here? See, I don't know anything. You guys have to figure it out. Okay, everything I cannot teach you. Google. My age is age. You want me to do that? Okay, fine. Let me remove this. My age is age. This is the program you wanted, right? Let me run it. It's going to ask me for a name. It's going to give a test name. I am going to give 22. I'm going to say male, and I'm going to put latest marks 99.99. Okay, as a float. Still the same error, which says that you cannot concatenate str, not float to str. Now what? 7 people wrote that it was wrong answer. Okay, so it looks like there's some confusion. Okay, so 2 things to remember. First is concatenation can only happen with strings. To convert anything to a string, you can wrap the code in str function. This should be simple to understand at this point, right? Another thing to note here is, no, I highly do not recommend using doubles actually in code, because see, doubles take large memory and are not optimized for searching for slicing. So this is something you need to know about doubles. Okay? So to convert anything, you can wrap it to str, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this code. I am going to paste it in the YouTube chat. Okay, YouTube chat won't take it properly, so I'm actually going to put it in Telegram. I'm going to make this as you guys homework, because I can see so many of you still confused, having absolutely zero idea what the hell I'm trying to teach. So I want you guys to bang your head against the wall and figure it out, because you need to learn to do research. So you have your homework for today, okay? I want you to mess around with it without changing the original data types, okay? I'm going to add that in Telegram. So you cannot change the original data types and you have to fix the code. I am not going to teach further today. I want you guys to first understand data types and how to convert from one data type and what function takes what data type. You're only allowed to use the things I've taught you till now. Dot operator is not allowed. So you cannot do something dot format something something. That is not allowed. Okay. Find another way to fix this problem. I've put a comment here as well. Please read through the comment. Fix this code by tomorrow 11:59 p.m. So tomorrow midnight till I am giving you time. An upload link will come. You have to just upload the copy paste the code there in a text box and upload it with your name. Okay. So I'm going to stop here because, oh my God, so many people. Okay, yeah, you guys need some time to understand this and test play around with this code. So go home, run the code, fix the error, figure out 3 ways to fix the error. There are 3 ways to fix the error. I repeat, there are 3 ways to fix the error in the code that you can see in front of you. Find the ways to fix the error. If you find the ways to fix the error, all 3 of them, that you've been doing fantastic work and you're going in the right direction. If you are unable to, it's completely fine because I'll show you the answer day after tomorrow. So you'll see the answer. So you'll have an idea. Okay. So with that, let's end today's class here. If you have any more questions regarding our PGDCD or Cyber Rakshak Acharya program or any of our other programs and schedules, as well as schedules for this class, please send them to editor bot